launch control activated. Whoop. Oh, and there you go, 0 to 60 in just a smidge over 5 seconds. Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to the all-new, all-electric Porsche Macan 4. I've been looking forward to driving this car. I had a brief spell driving the Macan Turbo Electric up the hill at Goodwood this year, but now we're out on the public road, putting it through its paces. So yes, welcome to the Macan all-electric, the second all-electric car in the Porsche range. And I'm going to say eagerly anticipated by some and hated by others. I think I'm a big Taycan fan. They drive brilliantly. I always say their biggest compliment is they drive just like a Porsche. But in terms of practicality, in terms of a car that a family could live with on a daily basis, a Taycan, well, a Sport or Cross Turismo is more practical, but this is a mid-size SUV. The Macan has done wonders for Porsche in bringing their mark into a completely new range of customers, and they are amazing vehicles to drive. And up until now, they've had a range of different drivetrains. You could at one point get them with a diesel engine, but now you've got a range of petrol engines and performance options, and they are brilliant things to drive. But this is an all-electric platform, and it shares much in common in terms of stats and numbers on a piece of paper to a Taycan, but they are very, very different. So in this video, I have this car for a short period of time. I'm going to walk you around it, tell you a little bit about the stats, talk about important things like how much is it going to cost and how far can it go on a single charge, but then most importantly, answer the question, what is it like to drive? Now, I've always been a big Macan fan. I've looked at buying one a couple of times because I think it's almost the perfect family car for me. Lots of room in the back for dogs and bikes, and they drive brilliantly. But if you're looking at buying a used car, then today's video sponsor can help you buy with confidence. Car Vertical will allow you to generate a report on the car that you're looking to buy by using its VIN number or registration plate. And these reports have a huge amount of really important information in them. First up, you can see if there's any outstanding car finance. You can look at mileage reports to check that the car hasn't been clocked. And then most importantly, you can see if the car has ever been involved in any damage or an insurance claim. And in some reports, like this one, you'll even be able to see images of the crash damage. So you can really buy with confidence. So if you use the link in the video description or pinned comment, and the discount code Petrol Ped, you will get 20% off of Car Vertical, so you can buy your next car with confidence. Anyway, back to the Macan EV. Let's start off with front-end styling. I don't think there's any doubting that this car looks kind of really purposeful from the front. It has a really big chin for a start and two sets of lights. The top lights, very reminiscent of what's on the new Taycan, and then this second set of lighting down here. So I think front-end styling, these two lights, it kind of sits a little bit higher. It's got a nice chin spoiler. It's got really nice dimensions, and it's cleaned up on the front. The lack of requirement for as many radiators as you would have in an internal combustion engine car allows the Porsche designers just to clean the front up. But I think if there's any debate about styling with Macan, it's probably not a debate that takes place around the front end of the car. It's probably more to do with the rear end of the car. Now, I'll be honest with you, I really like the back end, but I've met quite a few people and discussed this car, especially since I've known I've been driving it today, and it's a mixed reaction. Some people really don't get on with it at all, and others like me don't mind it. And I know styling is quite subjective. I had a comment on a video recently when I was talking about the styling of a car and giving my opinion as to what I thought of it, and someone said, well, that's an irrelevant thing because that's your opinion and someone else's opinion might be different. And that is absolutely true. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all that, but I like it. I like this bar that goes all the way across. I like the way the lights are kind of hidden away in this dark black trim. Probably stands out more in this white car. I'll talk more about the Macan Turbo that I drove up the hill at Goodwood, which was in yellow, but it still had this nice kind of contrast between that black bar and the body colour. And then obviously the big thing at the back, there's no requirement for an exhaust at all. You've kind of got a diffuser shape on the rear valance, which I think looks quite smart. And then boot space wise, there's a little button there to open the boot hidden away. And it's a good old size, this boot. So we've got a capacity of 540 litres, but this is an EV. So there's a boot up front as well, a frunk or a fruit, and that's 84 litres. And then also you've got a little bit of underfloor storage as well, maybe somewhere to put your charge cables and so on. So I just think that makes this car super practical. Really quite an interesting proposition. You can drop the seats, you can drop the middle seat as a ski hatch, and you can drop them all if you wanted even more space than that. But the fact that it's got a frunk and a boot, really interesting. Let's jump in the back, see what the passenger room's like. Now, I guess if you're watching this and thinking, well, why should you buy this instead of a Taycan? Well, this is the first reason why. You can actually get in the back if you're a human being. The rear of the Taycan is so tight and the ingress and egress so difficult. This is actually not too bad. This seat's all the way back for me, and it's not the most gigantic amount of room, but if you want that, buy a Cayenne. This is, you know, the kind of mid-range or mid-size SUV, but it's all right. There's enough space in here. I could sit in here for a long-ish journey. I wouldn't want to go too far. This particular car doesn't have any glass in the roof, so it's quite dark and oppressive in here, but I've got a little central bit that I can pull down with some nice cup holders on there. Yeah, it's nice. It's all right. Now, I know you're all going to want to know how much it weighs. 2,330 kilos. Interestingly though, you can put a tow bar on the back of this and it can tow a brake trailer of up to 2,000 kilos, which is probably enough for a caravan. Let's have a look at the driver's compartment because it's quite nice in here. Comfort entry. Now, I've just spent the last week or so in the new Cayenne, and getting in here, there's lots of things that look very familiar. This main display here or console here with the controls for the climate control and a little rotator for the stereo, it's exactly the same. You've got the main screen just here, and then the instrument binnacle. Interestingly, there's no kind of cowling or hood over that, and it's the same in Cayenne. It's quite interesting. It's got kind of non-reflective glass, but the actual driving position is, as you would expect, spot on. Loads of adjustment on the steering wheel. These are the 14-way electrically adjustable seats, and you can get really nice and low in the car. And although it's a mid-size SUV, yes, you've got a heightened ride height, so you can kind of, you're a little bit higher than you would be in, let's say, a saloon or a hatch. But when you're sat in the driver's seat, I'm sat right down and I'm kind of just looking over the bonnet, and the top of the doors are nice and high, and I feel really connected with the car. It doesn't really feel like I'm in an SUV at all, yet I'm surrounded by the practicality of that. It's a very clever trick to play. And when you drive the car, what that does is it translates into a feeling of connection with the car that's really nice. Let's just have a little bit of a chat about price and spec. So this is the Macan 4. Now, the car I drove at Festival of Speed was the Turbo. So Macan 4, in terms of power, it's a dual motor, so front and rear motor, 387 horsepower. But when you put it into launch control, that raises slightly up to 408 horsepower and 650 newton meters of torque. And I think for road driving, that's the sweet spot. You don't really need much more than 400 horsepower to have a really sporty drive. Even when the car weighs 2.3 tons, it translates into a very, very dynamic. It's quick enough. But what that also means is you're much more likely to get and eke out the best range possible. We'll talk about that once we're out driving. In terms of pricing, so the Macan 4 starts at £71,200. Now, this car has some options, a couple of which are a bit punchy. The most expensive option is the extended leather pack. So you've got leather on the dash, the seats, all the way around this surround, on the steering wheel. It makes it feel very, very premium in here, but that is £2,800. These comfort seats I've mentioned already, they're £900. Roof rails, £1,000, or £945. and then the parking support surround view system, that's 800 quid. So with a few extra things on there, we're looking at just shy of £79,000 for this car, which is a lot. I remember looking at Macans not that many years ago, thinking £50,000 was a lot. But I actually think for the crazy world that we're in, you look at a Petrol Macan GTS, they're going to be like 90 odd grand. The press car I was due to have a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think that's too bad, actually, pricing wise. Let's take this car for a drive and put it through its paces, because yes, it's more practical. It's a more family-friendly format. There's space in the back for adults. There's a big boot. There's a boot up front. It's very comfortable to be, but it's going to live and die by how it drives, and it's going to live and die by range and all those types of things. So let's go out and explore that on some lovely roads just over there. Okay, let's start the driving part of the review in normal mode. A normal mode comes with the kind of normal suspension setting. It is quite difficult not to push on straight away in this car because it has such a lovely feeling to it. The one thing I haven't mentioned so far is the whole battery pack range thing. So it's got a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack and a WLTP range of 373 miles. Which would mean you'd need to do around about 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour to hit that range number. Now, I'm driving reasonably enthusiastically. I'm currently averaging 2.4 miles per kilowatt hour, but that's no great surprise. But from my recent experience in the Taycan, I think a 300-mile journey in this car would be easily doable. And that's the advantage of going for the 400 horsepower version rather than going for the 600 horsepower turbo, is you're going to consume less energy to get you along the road and you're going to go further. It is, though, also capable of the ultra rapid charging that the Taycan can do. It'll do up to 270 kilowatt charging, and in my recent Taycan review, I'll put a link above and in the description below if you haven't seen that one, I was charging at about 600 miles an hour, so I was able to put a couple of 100 miles into the battery in just 15 minutes, and that's really where this car comes alive. So, you know, most people, 300 miles is going to be ample for their daily requirements, and if you want to go on a longer journey, then you can just find a rapid charger, and if you use the Porsche charge card, you'll get your ultra rapid charging at reasonable money as well. So I think it's about 37 pence per kilowatt hour. But as we come down this road, just in normal drive mode, it has a lovely feeling to it, this car. The weight is clearly nice and low. The skateboard design, yes, it's 2.3 tons, but that's 2.3 tons low down. And what that means and translates to is very flat handling characteristics and just a really nice feel. In normal mode, it doesn't feel slow or sluggish at all. It has ample oomph. Ample. Road noise and wind noise is really good. I often get comments that the cars sound louder than they really are. The challenge with filming this stuff is mics just pick up everything, and the mic on my camera just makes it often sound far noisier than it is, but the road noise is actually very good. And just the general feeling on the road and the smoothness and the comfort of the ride is really very good. Visibility, excellent. You've got a nice big set of door mirrors, good visibility out the back, nice visibility out the rear view mirror on the ceiling, and yeah, just nice, really nice. But I think this car, it's about the performance. Normal mode, you drive around that most of the time, I think, but you've got a little drive mode selector on the steering wheel, and you just rotate that clockwise and that will go through the different drive modes. There is an off-road mode. It doesn't have an eco mode. It has off-road, normal, sport and sport plus. So let's go and find another bit of road and put it into sport. Okay, let's put the car into sport Now we're going to firm the dampers up. We've also got the sport sound now, so it just sounds a little bit more spaceship-like, and straight away, dynamically, the car just feels more taut, more up for it. The stability and the poise this car has, whenever I drive a Taycan, I always say just how good those cars handle, how Porsche-like they handle. The steering's weird. When you're just mooching, the steering feels quite heavy and doesn't really communicate a great deal. As the speed increases, it starts to talk to you more, and it starts to build a really nice feeling, actually. And then you've got plenty of go out the corners. And you can generate plenty of smiles. Even in the sport suspension setting, the ride's firm for sure. It probably wouldn't be something you want to drive around in everywhere. It's not too bad. Well, there's only one more drive mode left, and that's Sport Plus. I'm also going to keep it in the Sport Plus suspension setting. Yeah, it's got a lot more. What I like about it actually is it's clearly quick, but it doesn't feel an overwhelming quick. It's got the instant torque response you get in an EV, but it actually still comes in quite nice and in a linear way. And it gives you a lot of confidence. The brakes are very, very good. And as you just tip it into a higher speed corner, oh dear, Porsche, they just have this ability to do things dynamically. Now, the wind noise you can hear, there is a bit of that coming off the mirrors, but I've also got a GoPro on the roof, so it's not entirely Porsche's issue. Let me just come into here really hard on the brakes. The anchors are very, very good, really good, and then lots of punch out the corners. What I like about it is it feels like a usable amount of power. Sometimes when you drive really high performance EVs, the Lotus Electra R I drove a while back now, I think 900 horsepower. When you stamped on the gas on that, it really was very dramatic, but you couldn't use all of that. With this, I feel like it's a really nice sweet spot. It feels like it's got enough power to see through those twists. That's lovely. It's got enough power to overcome the mass, the 2.3 tons, and give you a really nice sporty, engaging drive with a nice ride. This Sport Plus ride is probably a bit firm for my liking. I want to knock that back into sport, or maybe even normal on a road like this. So that's probably a little bit firm. But yeah, it's a good car. Really, really good car. Now the last bit of road we probably need to try is a bit of dual carriageway stroke motorway. Now I am lucky enough to have driven both now the Macan 4 but also the Macan Turbo, and I thought it might be fun to just head back to the Festival of Speed in the summer and watch my run up the hill in the yellow Macan Turbo, because it was very memorable. Whoa, pretty quick.
It was good. Good start.
This corner is the infamous one.
Yeah.
Brake hard and turn left at Morecambe.
nice. You don't see anything under the trees.
There we go.
Wow, great. Fantastic drive.
I didn't say a great deal.
That's good.
That was the slippiest run I've ever done up the hill.
That was good.
This is the forte of electric cars from a comfort point of view. It's not actually the forte from an efficiency point of view. We're sat on the motorway, cruise control set to 70 miles an hour. It's smooth, it's comfortable, and relatively efficient. Now, by the end of today, I will have done around about 100 miles and averaged about 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which that's just purely down to how I've been driving and the kind of driving I've been doing. I have absolutely no worries that this car won't do 300 miles or more. Just in terms of the, if you like, the security of buying a car like this, it comes with a standard 3-year Porsche warranty, but the batteries on Porsche cars have an 8-year 100,000 mile warranty, because I know a lot of people are worried about battery life and battery longevity when they buy an EV. But I think a lot of those fears are unfounded, and I think what we are seeing is batteries are lasting a lot longer than we originally anticipated. But my final impressions of the car, I really, really like it. There's not a great deal I don't like about it. The price is a bit punchy for me personally, but actually if you compare it with what's on the market with other EVs from the likes of Audi or BMW or Mercedes or even Volvo, pretty good money to be fair. It's such a comfy place and the driving position is excellent. It really comes into its own when you start pushing it down a really nice bit of road where the road flows and it's twisty and it hides its weight so well. I know 2.3 tons is a lot for a car, but actually dynamically you don't really feel it, and the kind of just shy of 400 horsepower is enough to get you down the road and mask that weight, and it delivers a really nice sporty drive that you can tap into. You can really exploit that power. You can really depress the throttle hard and really try and accelerate hard out of corners and not fear too much that you're going to get in too much trouble. Don't get me wrong, this is a very, very quick car. It gets to the speed limit really quickly. And I haven't played with some of the systems. I haven't had a listen to the stereo. I haven't really played with the infotainment system because I've got a Porsche and I know it's really good, and I know the integration with the charge network is really good. I tested that in the Taycan recently. So yeah, very, very impressive car. I think this is the EV that Porsche should have made, I don't know, 4 years ago. But I think the market's maybe right for it. And if this is any indicator of what the Porsche Boxster and Cayman all-electric are going to be like, then I'm excited for them, because this drives so much like a Porsche. It's lovely. Anyway, I would love to know what you guys think. Is having a Macan electric a bastardization of the Porsche brand? Is it the most awful thing ever? Or do you get it? Do you think, finally this is the form factor that we should have in an electric or electrified Porsche? Anyway, if you enjoyed that one, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. I would like to get more time in this car. I literally was offered a day to film with the car. It's only just come on press fleet. I'm one of the first people to actually get to drive it, and certainly to be able to create content with it, and I was keen to do that. But it's very much a car I'd like to spend more time in. Anyway, for now, I'm going to head back to Porsche GB in Reading, and I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe.